Welcome to Uncontained, episode 160. I'm your host, Aaron Static Render, and on the show today, I have a singer-songwriter, electric pop artist / classically trained opera singer, Crystal Clayton, and she just recently moved out to Hollywood to chase her dream, and she's tearing it up right now. She just recently released an album called 3 a.m. You can find it on Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, wherever you find your digital music, you'll be able to find it there. And we also talk about her artistic process and growth she's had over the years as a musician, including a big step she took when she started to feel comfortable talking about more of the personal, the more real stuff that's going on in her life. So we talk about that, and we also brainstorm a little bit about mixing the pop with a little opera to give that certain uniqueness that, might set her apart from the others. And after talking to Crystal, I'm excited to see where she goes to next, because as a singer-songwriter, she is not afraid to experiment a little bit and try new things. Plus, we talk about the importance of being able to do everything in the process, from editing videos to editing your music to writing and recording as well. If you enjoy this episode, please hit subscribe. You'll be able to hear artists like this, stand-up comics, actors, and artists from across the entertainment industry. So please hit that subscribe button. If you're feeling generous, leave that review, because it helps people find the show and know what they're getting into when they're listening. I won't keep you waiting any longer. This is the title track off Crystal's new album, 3 a.m., and my conversation with Crystal Clayton.
Baby, we ain't never gonna last. Got a pocket of that good, got a wallet low on gas, and speeding on the highway 3 a.m. going so fast, and I savor every moment, cause in time ain't gonna last, yeah. Get out of town, best get out of town. Running from my past, running from ourselves. You and me, we ain't never gonna last. Got a pocket of that good, got a wallet low on gas, and speeding 3 a.m. going way too fast. Too far in the zone to give a fuck about that. I'm on your side, double on my side, cause we killing ourselves, loving over life. And here we are, where we going, reckless
I'm great, thank you, and welcome to Uncontained.
Thank you.
I got word of you from a past guest, Nandez, and whenever I get a guest referral, I always look forward to that.
Yeah.
So you just moved out to LA. Tell the Uncontained audience just a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Clayton. I'm a pop artist. It's kind of like a pop R&B electronic vibe going on. Yeah, and I did just move to LA from Kansas City about 3 months ago. Just to get more opportunity and continue growing my career. So I'm really excited to start making a lot of, connections out here and just, do big things.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
So you moved out to LA just in time to miss out on some winter.
Right. Actually, literally when I was here, I actually got a little bit of winter because I moved out the day after Christmas. So Before that, there was a little winter, but it got real extreme after I left. And it's really funny because everybody in LA, technically LA, this past February was the coldest February that they've had in 80 years or something ridiculous. Or actually, it might have been 100. But so
wow.
everybody here was it's so cold. It's it's 50 degrees or something. It's so cold. And back home, everybody's it's so cold because it's -10. And I kind of started becoming one of these LA people that's
in 3 months only?
I know. Well, I think that the cold, I don't know. Yeah, I guess I'm just spoiled now. So we've had some good days though. Now.
It's easy to do, but whenever I feel myself being oh, it's cold out here in California. I'm up in Northern California right now. I always look at the weather back home in Iowa, and when that Arctic vortex or polar vortex was going through there.
Oh God,
I was
awful.
I was okay, yeah, I can't complain about anything. -50, including wind chill.
Right, yeah, it was bad. It was really bad. So I felt bad for them, but I'm also glad that I didn't have to deal with that.
Exactly. It's I feel sorry for you, but here's a picture of me in a t-shirt.
I literally did that, and I was oh well.
Yeah, you gotta encourage your friends back home to move out here.
Exactly.
All right. So now that we got the weather covered and moving, so what have you been doing out in LA for the last 3 months now that you've been out in California?
Yeah, so prior to now, I was focusing on getting out my new project, just trying to, do a lot of press for my project, trying to do some marketing ideas for it. Also, normal people stuff, get a job and, get an apartment and all that stuff. But music-wise, I've just kind of been settling in and really focusing on doing as much as possible with this project that I've just released.
And that project is called 3 a.m., correct?
Yes, and I just released it on this past Friday, so it's still a baby, it's pretty fresh. So
all right, so tell us a little bit about the project.
Yeah, so this project kind of steers my music more towards R&B pop. My previous projects have been more I released a project in 2017 called Too Human, and that one was kind of very electronic pop. I worked with a producer named Spencer Hode, and he had a lot of electronic kind of almost like EDM kind of stuff, and I really enjoyed that, and that was a fun project. This one, I kind of wanted to go in a little bit different direction with more of R&B, kind of hip hop, just slightly, mostly with the production and beats. I worked with a new guy. His name is Bam Keith, and we just really wanted to go with more of a R&B vibe. So this one, it's kind of, I like to think I like to think of my songs from this project as in a moment. So rather than more of an overview of moments, I like to have when I was writing some of these songs, it was more from in this moment perspective. So for the title song 3 a.m., it's like taking place in a car when you're like with somebody, and the song is about like being with somebody who you know that this is like a very toxic situation, and you know that it's not going to last. You know that it's, you know, it's like messed up and it's toxic for both of you, and it's like basically like draining both of you, but you love this person and you can't let it go. So this song just like takes place in that moment in a car, and it's like, it's kind of, I don't know, it has some like range of emotions going on. So that's how a lot of the songs are in this project.
Okay, so each song represents a different moment, or the whole CD is kind of written off of that one moment?
I would say there are different moments, but they're all kind of different moments around the same kind of theme. So like some of them are really happy, like, but they're kind of dealing with the same person or like the same situations. But like, you know, I have another song called Is It Me? And that's kind of another one that I'm pushing as a single off of the project. And this one's very much more poppy. It's more happy, you know, it's like in this moment of like everything is going awesome, like I'm in this great, you know, I'm sharing this experience with this person, we're both on the same energy, it's a great energy, I never want this moment to end. So I think that this project for me as an artist has a big range of like highs and lows, a big range of emotions, and like being vulnerable like that with people who are listening, kind of hard for me, but at the same time, I'm glad I'm able to share that with people.
Yeah, so I take it that you write all your own music?
Yes.
Okay, so as you mentioned, it's kind of hard to share those emotions with people, the ones that, you know, are, you know, real to you. Do you have a process of getting to the point where you're ready to share them? Or is it just like, okay, I just got to get this out and let it breathe?
So at the beginning of my songwriting journey, I was a lot more shy to share what I had made. It was hard for me to get it out. And then I have a ton of songs that I wrote that were fully produced, that were fully made into songs. But, you know, this was probably like 6 years ago. But I couldn't put them out because I felt too worried about what people would think. But, you know, you get to a point where you're like, obviously, if I want a career, then I'm going to have to make this happen. So it was definitely a journey of getting over that. But now I want to like put out every idea that I have like pretty immediately. I am always like writing, and I'm always coming up with new content. I just released this project, and I already have some new ideas that I'm like, oh, I just want to get that out there. Like, this is the next one. Like, I want that out now. But, so, you know, it's like kind of just, finding your way in it.
Okay. The reason I was asking, like, if you had a process to where you kind of got yourself ready to release things that are dealing with, like, personal issues like you were talking about, is because I think that's what kind of stops a lot of people. And also it's also the stuff that people really get because it's real. So right. I was just wondering if, like, you know, there's a person listening out there that is kind of in your shoes where you were 6 years ago. Yeah. Has like all these songs that are like, oh, this could be a really good song, but it's right. talking about a hurtful relationship or something like that. Did you have a process, or was there something that eventually motivated you to go ahead and be like, okay, I'll put this out. I don't care what people think. I think it's good music.
Yeah, I think that releasing it is part of the closure that you get in some instances, because, you know, for me, there's been past relationships that I've written about, and I didn't really get full closure like from the relationship. So me writing about it and like me releasing that and like having it out there is almost my own way of like letting it be done. You know what I mean? Like okay, these were all of my emotions. I didn't get to say them to you, but they're here, and this is, you know, like I can close that box now. So for me personally, like that's what that is. I didn't really have to do anything like other than that. It's funny, like my mom is like she's my number one fan. She's my mom. So like, you know, every song that I do, like she's one of the first people to hear it. And like, and then my friends and, you know, everyone who's around me, like they're the ones who hear it first. So it's kind of like a thing of like, is this good? Like, what do you think? Like, should I change something? Like, blah, blah, blah. And, so, you know, you kind of just like get hyped up off of their reaction to things and, knowing that you're ready to put it out.
I'm glad you found a way around that and are now able to put out stuff that, you know, has that substance to it, that has that feeling in it that you have. And being a songwriter, that's important because you're singing your own words, you know?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So how did you end up getting into singing? Let's take a step back.
Way back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess it's like kind of cliche, but I like when I was little, I would always tell my mom and my dad that I was like going to be a singer someday. So I was obsessed with Celine Dion, and I was like, I loved Mariah Carey and I wanted to be like them. I wanted to be Celine Dion. So I would sing around the house all the time. And, you know, I mean, like a little kid, like 4, you know, 5. Okay. And I would sing at daycare. And, you know, my daycare teachers, they would kind of be like telling my mom, like, she sings all the time. Like, we can't shut her up. And, and so my mom, you know, so they kind of knew that that's what I wanted to do. They knew that I wanted to go into that. So when I got to be a little older, I think I was like 7 or 8. I was 7. My mom was like, do you want to audition for some theater shows? Do you want to do voice lessons? And at first I was like, no. But then like a week or 2 later, I was like, Mom, like I want to audition. Like I want to do the voice lessons. So I did. And I just, I started out in theater, and I did a lot of like community, you know, theater shows and in school. And I always just knew that I wanted to be a singer, but I didn't really know like where that would take me. I actually almost went to college for opera.
Really?
Yeah, because I was classically trained. And so I was trained in like musical theater, and I was classically trained, and I thought that I wanted to be an opera singer. And I do really enjoy that. But for me, when I started writing music when I was a teenager, to me, there's like nothing else like it. Like I love writing songs. I don't think that I could be an artist and sing other people's music, because I just like my favorite part of it is writing it. So yeah,
makes sense.
So and performing, I love performing my music.
All right, cool. Yeah, so I guess in a way the whole singer-songwriter thing, singing other people's songs after doing that, would feel like you're just doing half of the art, you know?
Right.
Now, well, you were talking about singing opera. I was just wondering, is there going to be any, or have you used any aspects of opera in your singing?
I kind of have. I have this one song that I put out a couple years ago. It's called Mind Games. And there's a part in Mind Games when I like actually kind of do this little opera thing. It's not like super opera-y, but it does have my classical kind of like head voice going on in it. I also like use it. I mean, I use my head voice a lot in my music. So it's really like beneficial to be classically trained, because it just helps so much. I think that anybody who like wants a career as a singer should train classically at some point, just because it makes you so much like you're a well-rounded singer.
Is classical like singing like opera a lot of head voice or something like that? Because I think of that as like falsetto, stuff like that, but yeah. I just also think of singing from the gut doing opera as well.
Yeah, so there's like so for men it's called falsetto.
Yeah.
For women, it's called head voice. And when I sing, typically it kind of depends on like the intonation of the song, but a lot of times I'll belt, which is like a chest voice.
Okay.
But if you're singing like opera, then you're going to be using, as a woman, you're going to be using your head voice. And like it's really weird how the break works. Because there's a break in your voice when you can't go any higher in your chest voice, you have to switch to your head voice.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, falsetto and head voice is technically the same thing, but it's just a different term. All right. Because I remember when I was like younger, I heard that like, oh, females can't sing in falsetto. I was like,
oh, it's the same thing.
What they can't do that? Is there something? But okay, I got you now. Thank you for answering a question that's been in my head for not every day, but occasionally for years.
Okay. Well, I'm glad I could clear that up for you. Yay.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. It's been very helpful.
Yeah.
I don't know. It could be interesting if you like broke out into like an aria or something in the middle of like a pop song and just mix the two together. Sometimes those combinations are like really cool, like back in the day when Metallica did the Metallica and the Symphony Orchestra together. And it's like two things that you don't necessarily think go together and make something awesome, like French fries and a Frosty or something.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I kind of did that in Mind Games. So one of my songs, Mind Games, if you have Spotify, Apple Music, anything like that, you can check it out. It's not like super extreme, but it definitely happens. But you're also giving me like some more ideas. I should kind of dabble into that a little more.
That's what we're doing. We're just brainstorming right here. We're brainstorming. If you like anything, feel free to take it. If you don't like it, you can send it right back my way.
Okay. No, that's what I love about podcasts, honestly, and like interviewing, is because I honestly think about things that I don't like normally think about. I'm not even gonna lie. Like talking, like seriously, like when you ask me about my music, it's like maybe I did that subconsciously, so now I have to like put to words why I did it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like it's really fun doing this kind of stuff because I guess I learn more about like my reasoning behind what I did, you know?
Yeah, definitely. So since you're talking about knowing reasonings and everything like that, I'll ask this question too. You said your earlier music was more like electro pop and stuff like that, and this album is more like R&B hip hop music in the background. What was it that caused the inspiration to switch up your style?
I've always been really drawn to R&B music, like, you know, like I said, like Mariah Carey, like, you know, Beyonce, like, you know, I've always been drawn to like, I think that I just have always been drawn to like super powerful women with like powerful vocals. So and honestly, I don't know. I just think that you go through seasons as an artist. Kind of like, you know, like Lady Gaga went from doing like super poppy stuff to then Joanne was kind of more a little bit on the country folky side. So I think that as an artist, it's just really fun to explore like different aspects of music. And I don't know, like, I guess I just kind of started writing songs that way. So, you know, and also like, who knows what I'm going to do in the future? I could see myself doing kind of like funk stuff, you know. I think that cool. I think I have an envision of like someday, I don't know about like right now, like in the next couple years, but like in a few years, like I would love to have like a funk band or something and do like some weird like soul funk stuff.
All right, very cool. I could dig that. It's good, in my opinion. It's good that you want to keep changing and evolving. So
right.
in my opinion, there's only one band that's really been amazingly successful and not changed at all, even after changing singers, and that is ACDC. Like,
Oh my
to me, like
gosh.
they have the same song and same album, but it's still good. I'm not knocking ACDC out there,
Yeah.
ACDC fans. I'm just saying they're the only ones that have figured it out, and you know. But, on the other hand, I do like hearing artists evolve and change as well.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. You evolve and change in life as, in general.
All right. Yeah. Now that you're out in LA, is it a different ball game for you now? From being in Kansas City, Missouri to Los Angeles, Hollywood, how different is it?
Oh, yeah. It's a different world, honestly. Yeah, back in Kansas City, there wasn't a lot of pop music. There were a couple of other artists that did poppy stuff, but not really the way that I do it. So it was kind of difficult to find like a niche out there. It was kind of difficult to find like a place for me in the music scene in Kansas City. Here, there's a lot more competition. Obviously, there's a lot more other artists kind of along the same lines as me. So, I'm just kind of trying to like make a presence for myself and work my way into the music scene. But I don't know. I'm just like really excited. There's like so much more diversity. And I'm just excited to meet a lot of new people and discover new music.
Okay, very cool. So I just wanted to think, because I was like trying to think of how the pop scene would be in Kansas City, Missouri. Would there be places to go out and perform, or would it just be mainly you have to get internet famous or move somewhere?
Yeah, well, honestly, yeah. I mean, it was hard to get shows a lot because anyone who would come into town, like if like a big name artist would come into town, they would usually bring their own openers. I was able to open for a few like big name artists, which was a really cool experience, but most of the time they had their own openers. And so, and also like radio stations, there were a couple college radio stations that played my music, but also some kind of like local radio stations that would play my music, which I was really grateful for. But like the big radio stations that mostly play pop music, they only play music off of like record label artists. So,
yeah, it's rough.
Yeah.
It's rough. I used to work at a radio station, and it was like, nope, you can't play local bands. There's not a big enough market for that.
Right. And so it's kind of like, well, then how are local bands supposed to get big? Like, how are they supposed to grow? But, I mean, so that's like part of the reason why I came out here. But it was like, in Kansas City, I was kind of like a big fish in a small pond. But there are also a lot of like really talented artists in Kansas City. I really hope that within the next few years, the Kansas City music scene becomes more prominent, because there's a lot of talent. It just doesn't have the platform that places, there aren't like tastemakers there, there's not, it's just like, there's not a platform for artists to really grow. There's like a kind of like a cap that you can't get past when you're an artist there. So.
Well, what you need to do is hurry up and get famous, and then go bring some people from Kansas City and the Midwest back up with you.
I mean, honestly, like that would be really cool. I would definitely like to do that.
You could be like Kansas City's Nelly or something like that.
Right. Well, I mean, yeah. So Kansas City has like Tech Nine, which is what like Tech Nine is, who everybody talks about in Kansas City.
Okay.
Janelle Monáe is actually from Kansas City, but I don't think she really like claims Kansas City very much, which honestly I don't really blame her, because she had to go to New York. She went to New York like right after high school and got her music career going. So It's not like they helped her. So, yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So, real quick, totally off the subject, is there a rivalry between Kansas City, Kansas, and Kansas City, Missouri?
I think it's like a playful rivalry, yeah. Because most of Kansas City is actually on the Missouri side, like Arrowhead Stadium where the Chiefs play, and the Kauffman Stadium where the Royals play. Those are on the Missouri side, and so most of Kansas City is on the Missouri side. So like Missouri people kind of like, I don't know, we're kind of like, we have more of Kansas City, but it's more of like a playful thing. I think that like Kansas City loves sports. Kansas City loves the Chiefs and the Royals, so that really brings people together.
Yeah, that's good. So at least you can bond over the sports teams.
Yeah.
And the Chiefs, they had a heck of a season last year. So
They sure did, which was cool, And I was here when they started going to the playoffs, and they almost made the Super Bowl. They were like if they had won that game, then the last playoff game, then they would have gone to the Super Bowl. And I was like, oh, like, no, like they can't. Honestly, I wasn't rooting against them. I would have loved them too, but I was like, I'm not there. Like, they can't go to the Super Bowl when I'm not, the year that I'm not there. Like, seriously? But,
you'd never be able to go back to Kansas City.
Right? I'd be like,
they're like, you leave, they win, stay out.
Seriously, all my friends would be like, no, you're not coming back. But yeah, I don't know. It's really cool, like the sports. I don't know. I'm not really even that much of a sports person, but yeah, I go to the gym, like, because I live pretty much in Hollywood now, like kind of near Sunset. So I go to this gym over there, and I saw a guy with a Royals shirt on like a few days ago at the gym. And I wanted so bad to go run up to him and be like, Royals, like, yeah, I'm from Kansas City. But I, let him do his workout, like, let him do his thing. But inside I was just like, yeah, Royals.
It's cool though. Like, I'm from the Midwest also, as we mentioned earlier, and I'm a big Chicago Bears fan. And when I see somebody with like Bears gear or something like that up here, it's kind of like you got to give them at least a head nod, you know?
Yeah.
Be like, the Bears or something along the line, Polish sausages.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's funny.
All right, so we've covered the weather, we've covered sports. What news segment do you want to cover next?
We won't go politics. We won't do that.
No, please, no. I don't. I if you want to talk politics, we can.
No,
but,
it's okay. We won't do that to people.
it's like beating a dead horse.
Yeah, it is. It is.
All right, so let's do this. What advice do you have for people who are looking to get started out, or maybe even take that big leap and move from wherever they're at to Hollywood or anything like that? Do you have any advice for them?
Yeah, so I'm still kind of learning myself. This is a journey, and so I'm still kind of learning this myself. I think that what I've learned so far has been to just be authentic. I think that people can see, and I think that they can tell and they can gravitate towards what's authentic and what isn't. And I think that that's something that like people really love about, like, especially new artists, like up and coming artists, because if you think about, like, a lot of people have the same thing, like, oh, I really, like, I love Drake, but I loved him when he, I love old Drake. Like, I love the So Far Gone Drake, And so I think that, like, the most authentic version of an artist is, like, when they haven't, like, had the big record label sign them yet, and, like, they haven't been on all the blah, blah, blahs yet. So I think that a lot, and also I think that we live in this culture in music where you like, these rappers and a lot of these artists, they try to be a certain way just to get clout or whatever, to get famous, which honestly, I hate that word. I hate that I just use it right now. Like, yeah, I hate that word. So, people just like try to get famous, and they do stupid stuff to do that. And I think that if you want a career that's going to have longevity, then you're going to do that based off of your authentic self. And also, it's like nobody wants a copycat of somebody else.
True.
They want people, there's already, there's already so many of one type of artist. Like bringing something new to the table is, it's going to be recognized.
That's why I'm saying electronic opera pop.
Yeah, you know what? You got something there.
Nobody's doing it.
You're right.
No,
yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I interrupted you.
No, you're good. I know. I feel like that's a good idea. But also, and this is something that I'm struggling with myself, like every day. But I'm just, you have to do this. It's just keeping the right mindset. It's like really everything is in your mindset. Like you can convince yourself of anything, and that's good or bad. And it's like the thoughts and like, especially as an artist, because so many artists are emotionally driven. And so feeding into what you're thinking about is very key to either being successful or not being successful. So, I know it's like, it is cliche, but I've watched so many interviews of like people who are successful, Lady Gaga, a lot of successful artists just saying it's part of your mentality. You think what you think about and what you put your energy into is what you become. So for me, I'm just really trying to, have my dreams, what I want for my career envisioned in my head, and feeding into that positive state of mind, and just like working every day. I mean, because obviously, like just thinking about it isn't going to make it happen. Like you have to work for it every day. So
the whole secret thing doesn't necessarily work if you just think about it. Like thinking about a new Porsche showing up in your driveway. I think about it every day, but it hasn't shown up yet. No, you got to do something to get that damn Porsche.
Exactly. So, so that's just something that for me as an artist, I'm working on. And if I come up with any more awesome advice, then I'm always willing to share. But right now, that's what I have.
All right. Awesome. Yeah, that is some really good advice, kind of when you are thinking about something and also working towards it, but even just thinking about it in a way opens you up to seeing that side of something. Yeah. If you are like thinking of success or opportunity, you're going to see more opportunity. If you're thinking, oh man, this sucks, I'm not going to go anywhere, you're going to see more signs saying that you suck and you're not going to go anywhere. Right. Type thing.
Exactly.
And yeah, so that's really good. Just keep, even though it may be cliche, it needs to be said. So thank you.
Yeah, of course.
And all right, so now I know you have a new album coming out or just came out. What are you currently doing to promote it and or yourself?
Yeah, so I just use, obviously, social media, but, that really is the only way that's pretty much the way of marketing these days is through social media. It's so powerful.
Yeah.
And for me, I try to post, like, I don't post every day, but I post like pretty consistently. I just make content. Even though I don't have like this huge budget, I'm not like, I don't have thousands of dollars to just like spend on these fantastic videos. Like I'm an unsigned artist, so I'm just doing with what I can. But I do with what I can. And so, I've had my boyfriend shoot some little clips, and then I've like gone on Final Cut Pro on my computer and like put things together and made little videos and, set up little photo shoots, made him take pictures and, just like putting things together for myself. I think that something that held me back for a while was because I just thought and expected that somebody was going to come in and like make these things happen for me or something, which was very naive and stupid, because you have to make it happen for yourself. So nobody else is going to do it for you. You have to make it happen for yourself. So I'm just trying to constantly be like coming up with new ideas for little things to be using to promote. Even if it's not, like I said, even if it's not some high quality thing, just being consistent is like, a huge part of it. So
yeah,
I'm just trying
definitely.
So I'm just trying to be consistent and just come up with new ideas to put out there. And I mean, honestly, it's hard, but I kind of think that some of what I've done has kind of continued to roll around on the interwebs and at least make people interested in what I'm doing.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
And one thing I noticed too, it seems like you're willing to learn a lot of different aspects of it. Because you're doing the songwriting, the singing and performing, and then also I heard you mention that you get on Final Cut Pro, so you learn video editing and stuff like that. So I think that's a key thing there too. Do as much of it as you can yourself, and like it will help you get stuff done instead of having to always pay somebody.
Right, exactly. Well, and when I lived in Kansas City, I was still living with my parents, so I had some more money to like spend on stuff. So I've done the whole like paying somebody money for like kind of a lot of money for like little videos and stuff like that. And like they always turned out cool and they were great. But now I'm on a trying to break out artists in LA budget, which is, like
a lot different than living at home with parents' budget. I'll tell you that.
Yes, definitely. So just trying to make do, and also like kind of feeding into the authenticity thing again. Honestly, I think it's more authentic than some of the stuff that like the highly nicely produced stuff, because. So I think that this project is a little more mature, and I think that what I've done with some of the film editing and some of the photos and such has fed into this more than the other projects that I've done. So yeah.
All right, cool. So there's a lot to take away in that about promoting yourself. Now, you've been in LA for 3 months now, you say.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to do transitional stuff. I'm just going to hop right to it. What would you say would be a highlight or two that you would care to share with the Uncontained audience? It can be from when you're in LA, it can be from back when you're in KC, or somewhere in between.
Yeah, so in Kansas City, I had some really awesome opportunities. I was able to do so last year for the South by Southwest thing, me and a team went down and we did some South by Southwest showcases. We did Mid-Coast Takeover. We did Red Gorilla Fest. So that was really a great experience. We got to meet some really fantastic people. Also in Kansas City, I was able to perform at the Voodoo Lounge, which is a pretty decent sized venue, opening for Dreezy and Jacquees. And I also opened for R. Lumar in Kansas City. And I think that everything has just kind of been gearing up for this release. I mean, I've never had it. I think that this is the most proud of a project that I've been. I love, I'm in love with my old projects, and I think you can see my growth as an artist if you listen to some of the things off of my first project, and then my To Human, and then for here, I'm just really proud of the growth that I've had in my songwriting and my artistry. So I can say that it's, for me, it's only gonna get better. I mean, I'm not like saying that as in like, ooh, I'm so much better, but like, I'm just saying I'm
it's
gonna
a good
continue
direction to be
grow.
moving.
Exactly. Yes. I think I'm just really proud of the way that my music is growing.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. Now, you mentioned earlier that, before you felt comfortable putting out the more personal material, you had a bunch of songs that you had written and had produced and sung all together in song form.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you may have grown from when you recorded those, so you might not feel like putting those out now, but have you ever thought about going back and redoing those songs, or are they still relevant?
Those songs, I was still a pretty new songwriter, so they kind of probably should be left where they are. But I have taken ideas from those songs and brought them into more recent songs. I often go back to ideas, even like in my phone. I have a lot written over the last couple years, just like little snippets of things. And then even on my recording on my phone, you can record a memo. I have little snippets of recordings that I've done over the years, and I'll go back through those and I'll find them and I'll be like, oh yeah, that was a good little thought or like an idea or whatever. So I definitely like bring them back into new material, kind of like rework it a little bit.
Recycling.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And it's not stealing if you steal from your own stuff.
Right,
so.
Exactly.
All right, so I actually only have a couple more questions for you left here. So we'll roll with this here, keep on moving along. And so when somebody does come see you perform, now that you have places to perform in LA, or listens to your music online, is there anything that you want them to remember or take away from your music or performance?
So as far as my music goes, and I say this, I know it's kind of a strange thing to say, but like, honestly, like I write my music and I make my music for myself. I make things that I like. I make things that I feel good about releasing. And
That's awesome.
Hope and pray, and I think that they do. I mean, I know that they do. I know that people do connect with what I've written. But I don't write things for other people. I just like, I know that there are people who connect with it because it's authentic. And so I just think that I just hope that people listen to what I've made and just are able to relate to what I say. And I think that I know that there are people who have, because I've had people reach out to me and say that they do. So that's good. For performing, I love to perform. Like, performing it's hard because I think songwriting is my favorite thing about what I do, but performing is my second favorite thing about what I do, because it's like an exhilarating experience. It's like being in front of people. I just feel like I'm so passionate when I perform, and I just like get into the moment. So I think that when people watch my performance, I think that I can take them to a different place. I think that that's what you do when you watch people perform, when you do anything, when you watch a movie, when you listen to a podcast, you're taken to a different place, and you're able to like escape whatever is, even not necessarily, even if it's bad, just like be taken to a different world. So I hope that people, when they watch my performance, get to experience that, they get taken to Crystal World. And and as soon as my budget gets bigger, we're going big. We're going to be having unicorns Okay, I can't give away all the juicy details of what we're going to be having, but when I get my budget right, we are going to be having
I believe it's going to be colorful just by looking at your social media.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you have lots of bright colors in your pictures and your costume or your outfits that you wear. And yeah, so I could picture unicorns or something like that.
Definitely.
And yeah, singing opera.
Yeah, we'll see. There's no limit to all the
Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
An operatic unicorn? Come on.
I like all these ideas you're giving me. These are some good ideas.
Some of them may be good. Some of them you might want to run from. But yeah.
We'll cook on them a little bit. We'll sit on them a little bit and see what.
All right, let them marinate.
Yeah.
All right, perfect. And there's one thing that I'm glad you actually said a little earlier on in your what you want people to take away from you writing music for yourself, because like so many times you hear people talk about writing music for other people and it's not the music they like, so they end up hating the music that they're writing.
Right.
Or if they don't make it writing stuff for other people, they have the what if I was, honest with people type thing.
Right.
So
yeah.
I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, and it's hard because and I almost feel weird saying that because I want my fans and my friends and whoever is listening to my music, I want them to relate to what I'm feeling and I want them to feel something.
Totally.
But I'm also not going to, I'm not going to say things that aren't true to myself. So all I can do is just make what feels right for me and hope that, people relate to that.
All right, perfect. Okay, so I have one final question for you, but before we get to that final question, where can people find you on the internet? Like, what's your social media? Where can they find your music? Where can they get a hold of this new 3 a.m. project you have going on and eventually see unicorns?
Yeah, so my name is Crystal Clayton with a C, Crystal, Clayton. And you can find my project is everywhere. It's on Apple Music, it's on Spotify, Tidal, whatever you have, it's there. Also my Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, it's all at Criddle Clayton, which is CriddleClayton. Criddle is a nickname from high school, so I just kind of stuck with it because I thought it was fun. So yeah, and follow me and check it out, and let me know what you think about the project. I love to hear any feedback.
All right, perfect. So I will put your social media in my show notes so people can find it there. All right, Crystal, it's been great talking to you today, and I appreciate you taking the time and sharing your experience and advice with us here on Uncontained. Now, I do have that one final question for you. It is the title question of the show. Crystal Clayton, how do you live uncontained?
So in Kansas City, it was difficult to be doing pop music, be doing pop R&B music. The style that I was doing was very different than what everyone else in the music scene in Kansas City was doing. And it was hard for me to have my place there. So just overcoming that and not letting what other people in the music scene there think of me. There were a lot of people who honestly didn't want me there. So just letting those thoughts go and just going with my gut, which was telling me to just keep going. That is part of the reason why I came here, because I got tired of other people trying to hold me back, and I wasn't going to be contained. So there have been people who have been like, oh, well, rent in LA is expensive. Like, how are you going to move from here to there? And it's like, if you want it bad enough, you're going to make it happen. For me, there's nothing else in this world that I can see myself doing. Like, when I try to think about doing anything else, I can't see it happening. So for me, this is what I have to do because I know that it's what I meant to do. And that's why I'm here.
Awesome. Perfect. Thank you very much. And real quick, before I have you sign off the show, I want to thank Nandez for helping set this up. He's been a guest on the show a couple times. He is your Positive Rap official, and you should check him out. I'll put the episodes in the show notes if you want to know what episodes he was on. I can't recall them all. I'm a terrible host. But yes, thank you, Nandez, and thank you, Crystal, for joining me today. As I mentioned earlier, it was a blast, and I have one final thing for you to do, and that is sign off the show. Will you do me the honor of signing off the show tonight?
Of course. My name is Crystal Clayton, and I live uncontained.
And that does it for another episode of Uncontained. Thank you for listening, and thank you to Crystal Clayton for joining me on the show today and sharing her story. If you enjoyed the episode, please click that subscribe button at the top of your podcast player and have the show magically appear in your playlist through the power of technology. And make sure you check out Crystal's new album, 3 a.m., and follow her on the social medias, the Facebooks, the Instagrams, the Twitters, and let her know you heard her right here on Uncontained. I also want to thank past guest of the show, Nandez, for helping set this interview up. I appreciate it, and I love referrals. If you have somebody you want to hear on Uncontained, please let me know. Hit me up. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. It's all at Uncontained Pod. Thank you for listening, and until next time, live uncontained.